Ned and Fonza here with me. And Ned, what was your take on the game? The second half, they got Brisbane, were able to then create the chances, got 3 goals, could have had quite a few more, but just too strong in the end.
They had a period where they increased their speed in that final third where they actually looked good. But what brought it on basically was the fact that they punished Perth's mistakes that they made. I mean, the first goal was just terrible marking, and then you've got an individual error as well, and you're 2-0 down, then clearly confidence rises, and you could see that in their play. But Perth just lacked creativity to cause Brisbane any sort of problems whatsoever. And what we spoke about at half-time, that period that they had at the start of the game, in the situation that you're in, where you have to, you have to win games now to get into the top 6. You have to take those chances, and they didn't do that. And in the end, they were punished.
There's one side where you set up and you want to sit back and counter, but they didn't seem to have a plan in doing that to Perth Glory. They were sitting back, but when they got the ball, it just seems like sometimes they were under pressure and they're just hoofing it out. What was your take on them? Did they give enough? What should have changed for them in that second half?
Well, I think the Perth Glory player there he said it, Smelts. He said, we had a plan and we thought it was working reasonably well by half-time, yeah? Broich really was brilliant in the second half and sort of opened them up. But the thing is, I saw Vukovic's comments during the week. He said, we haven't created a chance from open play in the last 4 or 5 games. Right? And he was scathing of his own team and so on. And that was pretty much reflected tonight, don't you think? Because they had a really good counter-attack in the first 5-6 minutes, which was a beautiful bit of play. Nice ball from Harold. Aside from that, they had one in the second half when Sydney took on 2 guys, and he was really outstanding. He was a real handful for Franjic all night. And aside from that, that was pretty much it until Matt gave a ball to Smelt. So I thought Vukovic was right in that. Kenny Lowe's chosen a way to play. The question I ask is that football, is it going to actually work in this league anymore? Because that's sort of, mind you, all the long balls down the middle of the field, or from Vukovic, they actually profited very well from them because Matt Smith didn't handle them well in the air. They were much stronger. And so they picked up a lot of second ball. But the trouble is they're then able to adjust most of the time. So what Raw do is bring players down to the other end of the field so that they have people to be able to play. So I reckon we had a lot of that football earlier. It's changed a lot. And I'm just interested just to see whether that type of football now is actually going to be able to do something in the league. And the table at the moment very clearly says that it's not.
I think the thing is the issue tonight as well. They had a few chances, but it came down to pretty much glaring tactical errors from Raw that presented those opportunities. Now, the thing is, I mean, we know that they lack creativity. And when you've got someone like Smelt saying that an opposition player gave me the best ball because everything else was pretty much around his neck, then you think to yourself, OK, if you're lacking creativity... He's right, yeah. If you're lacking creativity, what other game can you play that will cause the opponent problems? And the thing is, with Raw, they have been vulnerable with teams that have sensed opportunity to attack them quickly. But so many situations that Perth had where they regained possession, that's where you have to treasure possession to do something with it. But just on way too many occasions, they just cough the ball up again. And
this is how the table looks. That result has an effect on the top and the bottom of the table. Up the top, the Raw are up to 41 points, so 7-point lead on the Wanderers. And down the bottom, Perth Glory now last. So that on goal difference, that result puts them below the Heart. So quite amazing for them. OK, let's hear from one of the Raw's goal scorers, Thomas Broich. He's talking to Lucy.
Thomas, a solid performance by the lads tonight. You must be proud.
Yeah, we were a bit low on confidence to start with, but we were really persistent today. We kept the ball moving well, and in the end, we got the rewards.
An outstanding goal by you personally. You must be proud to get on the score sheet.
Yeah, I hit that well. I haven't scored for a while, so it feels good.
How badly did the boys need the win, obviously bouncing back from 2 consecutive losses?
Yeah, we haven't lost twice in a row for quite a long time, and as you could see early on, we were lacking a bit of confidence, and we needed to stick to our guns, and once we got our ball game going, our rotations going, then we looked pretty dangerous actually. And in the end we scored 3 goals, so we can be pretty happy.
The Raw delivered from start to finish in the match. Is this some of their best performances so far this season?
No, I don't think so. Personally, I thought that we started a bit slow. We couldn't really create chances early on, and they hit us twice on the counter, so we had to be careful there. But once we got through that phase, we really took over and dominated, and after that, you're right, it was a pretty good performance.
Fans are very loud here tonight. You can barely hear me. Go off and enjoy the win, mate.
Cheers.
Yeah, happy Thomas Broich, and what a fantastic goal he scored. And Foz, a couple of times he said in that interview, low on confidence. So it was telling. And they started that way, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly. And as we said at half time, they were just not on the game. Quite a few missed passes, and that goal made a big difference to them. But Broich once again made a huge difference. Like I said at half time, but I still give them huge credit because they continued to try and play the same way when they knew they can get hit on the counter. And they're still trying to find Broich in those areas. And when we've got 5 players in midfield you're playing against, the gaps aren't very big. And so it takes a certain bravery, I think, for the team to continue to do that way. So for them, it was a big question mark this evening. Early on, they're threatened, and which puts them, in a poor mind again because they've lost 3 of the last 5. They've got big home run coming. They needed to get a win at home. Now that they have, and they've really proven themselves tonight, they can't lose it from here. It's not possible because now that the home record is behind them, now I think they'll start to. They have what he calls confidence, and they're done.
Ned, what about Perth Glory? What do we say about them? Winless now in 7 matches. They've now hit rock bottom. They're last on the ladder. Where do they go from here? I mean, other than trying to climb back up, but they're really in a bad way at the moment.
Well, I mean, we spoke about it. They have to pretty much identify some sort of a game that's going to hurt the opponent, and they lacked that too many times tonight as well, where they just didn't sense the opportunity, where they could have got forward, or just lacked the quality in areas to play out under pressure, where they need to hold on to possession. And that's a thing as well. I mean, when you are low on confidence too, and you've had such bad results, then the movement of the team decreases, and they have to kind of identify those situations where there is a chance to get forward into an advanced area, and I have to concentrate on this passage of play now rather than give up possession too easily. Another issue as well for them is, I mean, you see it in their passing, and I spoke about it pre-match, the fact that it's at times just way too predictable, and you need some sort of a plan as well with your passing. It's too much, OK, I've got it, I'll pass it to a teammate and let's see what he does with it. They have to bring in the third man a lot more, where players are actually, as a collective, on the same sort of wavelength. There's too much passing to a player and then relying on that individual kind of quality to get them out of it. Yeah.
Because the young kid has lost the ball here. But in my personal view, the reason that he's lost the ball is because his other teammates don't expect him to do anything other than probably get it forward. So in other words, no one's helping him. And he's made to then look vulnerable. He makes a bad decision, but he's got no help, he's got no support. And that's because of the way they're playing. So, they've got big decisions to make over there in the West because, as we said before, they started one way with a strategy, if you like. That's been thrown out. They've now changed, and take Kenny Lowe out of the equation, you're just talking about the club. And they're now in a situation where do they turn? What do you do now? Because you've got nothing to really hold on to. Because you've already changed, that hasn't worked. So what's the option now? What exactly do you hold on to?
And for the Raw, I mean, as we look at this fantastic goal by Thomas Broich, a crucial game for them in many ways, because he spoke about the confidence and the low confidence in the squad. Now they're 7 points clear again. The Wanderers are starting to pick up momentum, so are the Victory behind them. It looks like they need that gap, because anything can happen in these final rounds.
Sure, but you could see as well, I mean, they were vulnerable on quite a few occasions in that first half. I mean, from a team, Perth, who has, I think they're the worst attacking team when it comes to goals. created some problems as well. So there's clearly still a few issues there. And something that, you know, sure, you've won 3-1 after losing 2 games, but still it's a situation where you can't sweep these things under the carpet because you're going to come up against better opposition in the coming weeks.
And what do you think of that goal? Brilliant way to finish it
for him. Yeah, it's a game where they needed him. They needed him badly, and in the second half he took control, as you've seen him do so many times.